Hello and welcome to the Overtime Podcast with me, your host Tony Sixwing, and my co-host Laura Quinting. And
Hi.
today we are talking about how work screws you over badly.
Yep.
Oh, work does screw you over, but that's why they call it work. So, my getting screwed right now is this. So, get this, Laura. At my work, a forklift position opens up, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, the forklift position opens up. I apply. I'm the only one that signs up. So Friday, I go into HR to determine what effect it may have on my pay. Now, mind you, everyone thought, including my supervisor, that it was a material handler position. HR said, no, it's not. You're still an operator. You just happen to be the one that's running the forklift. So you get the same pay, even though you're doing the material handler work.
What do you mean running the forklift? You're not getting paid to actually do that part?
I'm getting paid while I get paid now. I'm put in charge of unloading, loading trucks, taking care of stuff in the warehouse, forklifting material around. I'm essentially doing a material handler job, but they aren't paying me for material handler because I'm supposedly supposed to be on an operating press half the time, which is impossible, by the way. Essentially, technicality of title in order to pay me less money for the same work other people are doing.
How much are they getting paid?
They're getting paid $1 an hour more than I am.
That's a large difference.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be pissed.
Oh, I am. That's why I'm just going to do it for like a year or so and then go look for other jobs where I can come back with another job offer because, that's the only way you ever get a raise is having another job offer on the table.
I would be peeved.
Oh, I'm beyond peeved, but I need the experience too much to show it. So yeah, work really screws one over.
Work screwed me over, ladies and gents, this week because it turns out, so normally we don't work Fridays, but lately we've been working Fridays. So I was like, okay, traffic ended up being really bad like the day before I was supposed to come in on Friday. So I was like, I might as well try and, you know, leave earlier in the day and hopefully said bad traffic will get a little bit better if I leave earlier. Well, I got there early and the opening manager was not there. Like, no cars at all were there. So I just left because I assumed that we didn't have to be there. Well, it turns out that the opening manager just was running late and no one fucking told me anything. So
Nice.
That's how work screwed me over, and I was out hours from that. Luckily, with as many side jobs as I do have, I'm not exactly hurting for money or anything, but it was just really annoying because no one, like, you would expect that, whoever is the manager would be there probably significantly earlier than the rest of the people, but they weren't.
Oh yeah. So the manager was running late and you couldn't get the hours because you were stuck outside the place and couldn't even clock in.
Yeah, and I assumed that none of us were working because my car was literally the only car that was in the parking lot. And most people would assume that they were closed because all the doors were locked, whatever. Like, I feel like you would think that the place would be closed because at the time, technically, it was.
I would have. However, I would also called my boss or whatnot if I had their number and said, hey, I thought we were working today.
I didn't have it. That was the problem.
And which manager was this? Because if your store manager was there, you should be getting paid for the time you had to wait on the manager to get there.
Well, It was my bad for not waiting long enough, was probably the issue. I assumed that I only missed them by like 10 or 15 minutes, to be honest. But, I mean, it was a semi productive day. Did a little bit of side work, went to the gym. Hadn't went to the gym in a while, so it was probably a needed day off, I guess you could say.
Yeah, well, I actually had a rather productive day. I spent way too much money at bookstores, ladies and gentlemen. I went to Barnes and Noble and got Caliban's War, the second book in the Expanse series, and because I couldn't find the first, but I had the first on my iPad. Which, for those who don't know, the Expanse is a series that was put on Sci-Fi, and they did the whole Save the Expanse thing on Twitter. You know, brought it to Amazon. And I like how they do the story, so I thought, okay, let's read some of that to get all this stuff going. And I went to the bookstore. I got a workbook on making novels, a creative writer's kit, a book called If You Want to Write by Brenda Euland, and a book called Alien Societies, a writer's guide to creating extraterrestrial life forms,
Hmm.
and a reference book. So yeah, I had a mildly productive day trying to work
I
on my
haven't went
writing.
into Barnes and Noble in a while.
Well, I'm on their email list, so I get a coupon, 25% off or 10% off and all this stuff on these different items. Like every weekend, they send me a coupon.
I would give for something like that.
Huh? All you have to do is give them your email address when you go in there.
See, the problem with me is like I don't sign up for certain things because if I'm not in there enough, I just can't justify it though. Like I'm
Ah,
not in Barnes and
but this doesn't
Noble
cost me any
that
money.
much.
This doesn't cost me any
True.
money. They just send me the coupon. So, in my email. So, if I'm
And
not going that week, I
that's
can just delete it.
hmm,
So, no skin off my back.
that is interesting. Oh, speaking of work, um, but you said it was 10% off?
The one I got this time was 25% off.
Oh, okay. Um, that's actually not that bad. Um, Speaking of work, so this is a scenario that happened to me today. So I had talked to this one girl, and she was like, I'm not trying to do like retail, and I'm not trying to do like fast food. And she lives in Traverse City, and she was like saying, well, like my job search isn't like going very well. I want like an HR job, like a desk job, or a small accounting job. And I was like giving her resources. I literally looked up on Indeed some resources and I was like, I can't really believe that this person was actually looking because I am 99% sure she wasn't because it is very easy to Google jobs in the type of field that you want in your area. And it didn't seem like she did. And I did manage to get her like a connection to like a brand. Ladies and gents, I am, as one of my many side jobs that I do, an influencer on Instagram. I really, really fucking hate using that word, but supposedly that's what we're considered. I would say I'm more of a reviewer than anything. But basically, I worked for this local company in Traverse City. Um, and it was like a tea company, and I worked with them. And basically, it kind of like fucked me over more than anything. I did like a giveaway for the company, and like they shipped me the product, and I was stuck shipping the product to the giveaway winner. So, like, personally, I didn't gain a whole lot from it except for a couple followers and whatnot. But, you know, I was helping out a small business, so I was like, whatever about it. But the person who I talked to, my friend who was looking for a job, she has a meeting with them tomorrow. And I was like, I feel like jobs, unless you use like a third party or something, are very like, it's all about connections on how you get them. Like, she would have never had that meeting if I never would have said anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of jobs are like that nowadays, and even then, they still don't pay you enough to live on.
Yeah. Like I was surprised she was an accountant for this dude who had like his own like I don't know, it was called like Rotor Rooter in Traverse City or something. I think they did like some sort of cleaning whatever thing. Maybe it was sewage. But she did accounting for them and from what she told me was not getting paid very well.
Nope. Oh, here's one that's got kind of the alley of Traverse City. It's a meme that I got on that retail worker confessions thing.
Yes, whoever's listening, if there is anyone listening, which I kind of doubt at this moment, but we are both in a really, really large group that has like probably almost 200K people
Yeah, it's
in
also
it.
one of the most toxic groups of whiny ass yuppies that there ever is. There is some truth in the group, but there's a whole hell of a lot of whining about the pettiest shit.
I mean, personally, I like posting memes on it, and I think most people like
Me,
looking at memes.
I like the memes I get from it, but a lot of the stuff people post is freaking stupid.
The thing that people complain about is like stuff that,
I had to do my job. Woe is
yeah,
me.
or like I ended up getting so many people attacking me about this one post that I made a really long time ago. I ended up taking the post down, but basically I was just treated really rudely at a store as a customer. So basically these people were like openly bitching about like this other customer, like these two workers were talking. They didn't really offer to help me. I like had to personally talk to them and like they could obviously see me like I was by the clothes and shit, but then the people in the group were saying, "Oh, they were bitching about you and blah blah blah," and making all these jokes and I'm like, you're getting paid to talk to customers and help them. You're not getting paid to bitch about customers loud enough for other customers to hear.
Oh yeah, that
That was the
comes with
point I was trying to make.
that comes with professionalism, and being a professional. Yeah, customers can be a pain in the ass, but most of the time it's only if you are.
Right. And also, you definitely do not say it loud enough for other people to hear. That deters customers from wanting to talk to you or even buy shit from your store.
Yes, retail workers, we understand you have a hard job and customers can be assholes. That's just because humans are assholes. But when you're assholes and they don't want to work there anymore or shop there anymore because you're assholes, guess what? You don't have a job.
And what was crazy to me is they were complaining about such petty shit. It was like, oh, I can't believe like they didn't fold the shirt. Yeah, most people don't fold the shirt when they go into a store. You got to deal with that. You work at a clothing store, that happens.
Oh yeah, but here's one. It's that Patrick and Man Ray from SpongeBob. You want to eat at McDonald's, right? Yep.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah,
people
I
need
saw
to
that
work
one.
there for you to eat McDonald's, right? Yep. And those workers need to be able to live in somewhere in your town. Makes sense to me. So they should be paid enough to live in your town. They should get a better job. And then I got in this argument with this guy. He says, it's a job more so suited for college or high school students or a first job. Every job ain't for anyone. Then I say,
I am feeling like I'm getting even the memes people are taking like weirdly enough way too seriously. Like I posted a meme about um like I thought it was a funny meme. It was about a pizza party and like people were like actually bitching and saying like I can't believe like you're bitching about getting a pizza party or you're bitching about free food and I was like that wasn't even the point of the meme. I'm not bitching about a free pizza party and it wasn't even my post. I reposted it. I love well, I'm not actually the biggest fan of pizza because most of the time pizza's not made in a good way. But that wasn't the reason why I posted it. It was more so that it was a joke poking fun at the fact that most places do not give a bonus whatsoever, or if they do, it's laughable. That was the whole point of the post.
oh yeah, no, this one guy is just one of those super right wing idiots So I said, the town I grew up in, these jobs are the only jobs. Better jobs are not always available. Then he says, learn a trade or CDL. It's a high demand everywhere. And then I reply, sure, learn a trade. You do realize most trades require you have your own tools and equipment to make $13 an hour. You won't make enough to raise a family till you're 30. Oh, and while CDL is a nice idea, not everyone can drive a semi. And once everyone has that job, it will be a minimum wage because supply and demand. Then the guy comes back and says, that's an excuse. I'm 23 with certificates in 3 trades, and I'm 3 weeks from my CDL. And what place would possibly have fast food as the only employment? And then he says, driving a semi isn't anything special besides putting in the work and effort to learn it. People do realize, I don't think this guy really realizes that everyone can get around the anxiety of driving such a big vehicle as a semi. Some people barely can drive their own cars.
Oh my gosh, some of the people that I've met on the road in GR, like I'm wondering how they got licenses at this point.
Oh yeah, but then I respond again. Oh, okay, 3 trades and a CDL, and have you actually started working yet? Have you looked at the jobs and what they pay? You forget, if everyone is a tradesman, then they will start making McDonald's wages, supply and demand. Also, majority of jobs will always be low-skill, low-wage jobs. If those jobs do not pay a livable wage, you're just setting up an economic collapse. Because math. Then he says, make the equivalent of 17 an hour, working 50 to 60 hours a week, welding. The starting wage is nowhere near minimum wage, and if everyone is a tradesman, it wouldn't turn out anything like that, you think. Put in the work before running your mouth. Except the reason that wages in trades are so high is because so few people know them.
Well, I was gonna say know them and or want to do them. But...
Yeah, it's supply and demand. It's what happened in the IT industry. Everyone went into computers, and now everyone in computers makes as much as a lot of people make without a degree. For the first 5 to 10 years.
There's some people in computers who do IT at like Geek Squad and are getting paid about the same as if they were just a regular retail person.
Oh yeah, and he says he's making the equivalent of 17 an hour. I'm wondering, is he getting paid by the weld? And just quickly going through it to make that equivalent? Or is he making 17 an hour? Because he says equivalent of 17 an hour.
I would perceive that as 17 an hour myself, but I'm not sure.
No, but he says, but put in the work before running your mouth. I looked at these jobs. Yeah, welding will pay you 17 an hour. But you have to have certification, schooling that you had to pay for. A lot of times you have to have your own MIG welder and TIG welder and all this stuff. Your own tools, which cost money that you may not have. This kid... And I look, and I go over to his page. He went to the Gloucester Institute of Technology, and he's from New Jersey.
You seriously want to make a point to look at this person's page?
Oh, just because I was getting so pissed off with this guy being an idiot. I decided I had to see what this guy was up to.
I feel like most of the people in that group are just like, you honestly can't even post a meme with SpongeBob in it without someone bitching about something for some reason. Oh, yeah. I never understood it.
I don't get it either. Everyone bitches and bitches and bitches.
Like, the whole point of us at least me joining, because I was invited by one of my friends, was to have some comedic relief, look at memes that were semi-relatable to me, and that was about it. But now it's just become very annoying because you can't really say anything without someone bitching about something.
Oh yeah, and I forgot. A lot of people on the post completely agree with me and the fact that if people are willing to work 40 hours a week, they should make enough to at least live in a 1-bedroom apartment.
I would agree with that sentiment.
And I don't think anyone realizes, if only teenagers and college students work at McDonald's, you will not be getting breakfast at McDonald's.
Well, maybe college you might.
The
It
college
depends.
kids, maybe. But if everyone that worked at McDonald's was in high school, it's not opening till almost 5 at night. And there will be no hot food because you have to be at least 17 to run the grill. 16, 17, sometimes 8. They really say 18 just to be safe to run the grill.
And hypothetically, if it was just high school students, then you also really wouldn't be open that long because high school students legally, until they turn like 16 or 17, are only able to work till 7 o'clock.
Yeah, so you'll be open till from about 5 to 7, so 2 hours of the day. You can't serve hot food and all that other crap. And the managers there don't even make a living. Are you telling me that being a manager somewhere means you should still be in poverty even though you're an hourly manager?
I was actually told, um, I believe that this was like a couple of years ago when you and me both worked at McDonald's, but I think there was this dude named, I don't know what his name was, Alex or something like that. But he actually had it was basically an over glorified position of what we had, but like a, a little hypothetical more
He was a crew
power.
trainer.
Well, anyways, point is, he was younger than both of us, and I believe because of that, he was getting paid less,
Oh
which
yeah,
made no sense to me.
he was making less, although he was working more than we was sometimes. Also, they his mom got almost got the place in trouble for letting him work so many hours because he wanted to work them. And his mom called Kim and told him, "Hey, if you don't stop letting my kid work this many hours, I'm going to report you to the labor board or something like that."
Ugh.
Yeah,
Was he failing his classes or something?
no, his mom just declared that he wasn't supposed to work that much.
Hmm. Maybe he like didn't have that many classes that he was able to work that much. Because I know when I was in high school, I didn't work. I didn't work like all the time. I worked like on the weekends and
Well,
stuff,
you
but that's about
see,
it.
he had 2 jobs in high school, sometimes 3 in the summer.
2 jobs? What are you talking about? Are we
Yeah,
talking about the same person?
yeah, Alex,
And we're not talking about skinny stupid Alex, right?
skinny
The one that
stupid.
did Cody?
No, I'm talking about Alex McDonald's Alex.
Okay. As
Uh,
long as we're thinking of the same person. Yeah, okay.
did back did back cash when I wasn't there half the time. Was a crew trainer.
Most of the time did grill just because people didn't want to do it.
Yeah, and because I was stuck in the back cash,
Yeah.
it was either him or me on the grill.
Or if you were on the grill, he had to make sandwiches. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. I know. Yeah, yeah.
it was
That's what I'm talking
him,
about.
Jeremy, and Brendan or
Yeah.
Brandon.
Well, Jeremy and then technically became Kira, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Jeremy become Kira. Yeah, Jeremy is now Kira, folks. That's our transgender ex coworker.
I believe is a manager there now, I think.
Yeah, you see, we had a really nice store manager when we worked there. She understood that we were not making enough money and it was impossible to get the owners to give us a raise. So she just ended up making people managers as quickly as possible so they could make a better living.
Yeah.
It was really just so we could make more money. She made us managers, which is why when you went in there, like everyone was a manager.
Literally, like when you and I left, I like went in there and like almost every single person that like stayed there long enough, of course, and didn't like walk out, became a manager.
Well, you see, I was supposed to become a manager when I moved here at the McDonald's I moved to, but I left within 2 weeks because they were a bunch of idiots and assholes. And
Like it was agreed upon that you like were transferring in as a
that I
manager,
was transferring
or
and supposed to be getting manager training.
oh, okay.
And I went to an Arby's where I was supposed to get manager training there. Well, that didn't happen yet, and the manager there, well, she was one of those gals that just hates men
Hmm.
and would yell at me for doing my job.
So you were doing the right thing, and if hypothetically a girl did it, then it'd be fine.
Yep.
But she was being openly sexist, basically.
Yeah, but remember, in our society, you can't be sexist towards men.
Right. Well, I mean, you get paid more than if you were hypothetically a manager, anyways, right?
I make 15.29 an hour.
I'm pretty sure even Laura, who was like there a
She
really,
makes
really
eleven
fucking
fifty.
long time. When my friend Kaylee, you remember when I lived with her? I don't think Kaylee even made $12 when she was a manager.
No, until they moved that to $11 an hour, the managers made 9.50.
Which, like, I personally don't believe, like, if I am going to, like, be a manager, I expect way more money than what they were getting.
Yep, they all made 9.50, but our store manager made 60 grand a year.
Yeah.
And we were one of the top selling stores in the country, people. Like near the like we had to have been within the top 20% of stores for sales in the whole country.
I don't know. I feel like our winters are really slow.
Our winters were really slow, but that summer made up for it. The store did 5 million a year.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good. Well, the thing is, like, we were right downtown, so it's kind of,
Yeah, we were the only ones everyone came through to during the festival. We all know the store made all their money during the festival.
yeah.
But
I don't miss that place one bit. As much as okay, you guys, if you know anything about call center work, you guys will know it absolutely sucks. But at the same time, I don't have to deal with feeling like my feet hurt constantly, and I'm not running around all the time lifting shit. So it is a very nice feeling doing call center work in that regards.
I don't know that feeling. I work in a factory.
But I will say, I don't know if it's because of the type of call center work that I do, but basically, what my job entails is we call a bunch of people who at one point had some sort of affiliation to whatever company or organization we are helping to fundraise. And I will tell you, very few people answer their phones, and very few people will actually donate. Regardless of whether or not it's a good cause, they will hang up on you while you're speaking and they won't donate even $5. I have learned this and it is very frustrating.
Yeah.
Like, one of the campaigns that I was doing was for like a business school at like a very widely known college. Well, I was on the phone with this person, and as soon as I identified myself, they hung up. Or like this one dude was actually like really rude. He was like, "I'm not donating any money to you guys," or something along those lines. Or, my son, he's actually a really hardworking man, and like he donates to good causes. Take him off the call list. Take me off this call list. People are a lot more rude than you would think when it comes to charity calls. But
Me, I just usually tell them I don't have any money because I don't.
right,
Because when it comes to charities calling me, I could use the money.
yeah. I mean, like, I when it comes to money, I feel like it's all in. See, maybe this is just my skewed way of looking at it, but I know very few people that are to the extent of like actually hurting for money. Like some of the people that I know, when it comes, like, they could easily donate something, but they put into perspective, well, it's not mutually beneficial to me to donate. Like, that $5 that I could donate to you, that's $5 for a Starbucks treating myself. It's all in perspective. It's not that no one has money to donate, it's just they don't find that as a priority to do, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, I was telling people the same thing. I was like, people like the people that were calling, either they haven't went to the school in a really, really long time, so probably stop giving a shit about the school, or they recently graduated within 10 years and are probably still paying back a loan. So at this point, are probably in the fuck you school mentality.
Oh, yeah. Oh, but guys, if you got a liberal arts degree, I have no sympathy for you. You should have known better.
I have a liberal arts degree. What the fuck?
Yeah, you went to school for marketing, and see how well that got you.
I advertise myself now, so pretty good.
Yeah, you're learning more outside of school than you ever did in school. My point exactly.
True, I suppose I could have been decent at social media just doing it any before, but
Exactly, so for you, school was literally a waste of money.
I mean, okay,
But
I
at least you
will
paid for it out of your own pocket and don't have any debt.
see, I look at my schooling as I don't think the schooling itself was a waste of money.
Okay.
I'm gonna say the degree maybe wasn't the most helpful thing ever in what I'm particularly doing right now, but I definitely know that whatever connections I've ever made in college, I never would have had before. Like one of the jobs I actually got from college that I still do now.
Ah,
So there is some good things that can happen in college, and if you never go, you'll never make those connections. You'll never have those jobs that lead into other jobs.
yes, people, remember, college is more about making connections and social networking than it is about getting an education.
I mean, I feel like most jobs they like seeing the college degree just as a way for them to know, okay, this person survived college, so they're not the biggest dumbass in the world. But technically, a high school degree could probably do the same thing.
Oh, it's called progressive credentialism. They want to make, because everyone has a degree, it's about as worthless as a high school diploma these days. They just require it to
Not
require it.
See, I don't think that's true though. Not even everyone has a high school degree. That's the sad part.
Yeah, but the thing is, when it comes to college, a lot of people have it on there just to add another level of not going to hire you.
True.
But Laura, do you think being a writer is a real job?
As that is my job, yes.
I was more thinking about a novelist.
I mean, if you're able to get it published and people are buying your shit, I think it is.
Well, some people think it's not a real job.
Some people, aka my boyfriend, also thinks that me doing social media brand partnerships is also not a real job when I tell him, yes, it is a real job because one, you have to basically market yourself and talk to companies, agency, third parties, as well as attain the product, take photos for the product, figure out what you're going to say, which is a form of copy and writing, by the way, in the comments, and figure out how to say it in such a way that people will actually comment on it. I think that it's a very hard job to do, and there's a reason why not everyone makes it in social media and is able to even make it a job whatsoever. A lot of people on social media use it as a way to like fuck around and be like, oh, like here's me at a party with all my friends and shit like that. I personally don't really even know that many people that I know of who do it as like a part-time job.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm trying to be a novelist, and for you, those of you who think that it's easy, well, here's a little bit. I'm not going to read a whole lot, just these two paragraphs, and you guys can see how rough the beginning of this process is. 10,000 dead men lay around the Duke, their bodies twisted, mangled, and burned. In every direction Duke Octavius looked, he could see nothing but burning vehicles and the corpses of these good and noble soldiers of the Empire. The smoke of the burning vehicles filled the air, the sheer number of burnt corpses overwhelming the filters in his helmet. He had his armor inject anti-nausea medication into his thigh to keep him from throwing up due to the smell. As the medication took effect, he returned his attention to a knight he had brought with him to the planet. So you see, that's just the first. That's the opening paragraph. It's not that good.
See, I write blogs about school, so I wouldn't really be able to tell you whether or not I thought that was good.
Do you read books?
I read up on information that pertains to schools I talk about, and that's all.
Well, you're an article author, and I'm a book author.
Which are two very different things, audience. I have been an article writer for a decently long time, for a couple of years now, and basically what that means is you take a lot of information about an item, product, or company, school, whatever, that has already been published, and you paraphrase it into important points so you can make an article. So you are basically the middleman, and people don't have to search that stuff and clutter it themselves. That's what bloggers are for. When you're making a book, it's a much different process. Like, you will probably have to redo that book and put it in the drafting process multiple times. A blogger, it kind of just publishes when you feel like it, to be honest. Like, maybe you have to edit it a couple of times depending on, like, who you're hired by, but
Oh, most
things get
authors.
published way faster.
Most authors do self-publishing these days on Amazon.
Well, I was more so talking about the people who, like, get really, really big, like the ones where they're in, like, New York Times and stuff.
Oh, actually, a shit ton of the self-published stuff is in the New York Times best-selling list on Amazon.
Really?
Yeah, it's trying to supplant traditional publishing. Traditional publishing is still there, and it's a lot easier to get. If you want to get your books in the stores, you have to get traditionally published. But before The Martian was traditionally published, it was self-published.
One of the movies that came out a little bit ago, it was so basically there was this app. I mean, it's still available. It's called Wattpad. But this lady, she had made a series of books, and it was like called After or something like that. Well, basically it got really, really fucking huge, to the point where, like, she was getting millions upon millions of reads. So she ended up getting published, like, traditionally, and got a movie deal out of it because of how big it was. Because obviously people were going to go out and buy this book and shit like that. But she did have to, get it edited multiple times, change people's names for legal reasons, and blah, blah, blah. But that is a very humble beginning that she started on Wattpad, which is a free app, where you basically just write stuff on your phone.
Oh yeah, you can also do it from your computer on Wattpad. But here's the thing, people. Laura, you do articles, right?
Yes.
About how many do you think you've done?
Supposedly, I want to say on WordPress, the amount that is on there is like 500, but I think I've been paid for more than that, so I probably did like some independent stuff that I don't really remember for them.
Okay. Okay, people. Now, there used to be a site called Legend Fire that was really nice for fiction writers. But here's what we got from me. Okay. I've written or started writing. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 plus books. Well,
Have none of them been published?
I haven't finished any of them except for one.
Okay.
And that one ends up being about 10 pages long, so more of a short story. I wrote my senior year of high school. It took me a year.
A year?
Lots of writer's block.
I'd be screwed if I took that long making art. I made art in like an hour.
Well, you see,
See,
go ahead.
well, no, I'd be screwed if they took me that long to write an article, actually.
Yeah, but you're getting paid to do this. I haven't even published anything yet.
True. I will. Okay. As a preface, guys, I don't get paid a really large lump sum of money to do this. Otherwise, I would not be working in a call center. But it's good side money. So if you guys want to know more about that, maybe use Google and find a writing job that will pay you.
Yeah, where I am currently working on a project that's kind of inspired by another person's kind of drama and The Expanse and a lot of other things together. And I'm right now stuck trying to write the first frickin' chapter. In that part that I read to you, Laura,
Yeah.
that's part of almost probably 40,000 words that I have into that novel, and I'm scrapping the whole thing
Hmm.
because the entire thing is going off in so many different directions. I wrote from the hip, and it didn't work out too well. And I cannot
Have you
outline to
had
save my
like
life.
multiple people look at it?
No, I just know it's crap. Because I went back and tried to read it, and you got chapters that lead nowhere, chapters that come out of nowhere. I didn't even finish it before I realized how much reworking was going to have to be done. It's like, okay, we're going to have to just restart this entire thing. I don't know where I want to go with it now, so it's just sitting on a file on my Dropbox.
Hmm.
Because
I
nice,
remember taking a creative writing course and was very glad that they had us write like smaller things, but I can't find any of my work, which sucks because like from what I remember, it was an enjoyable read. I would kind of wish that I remembered what I wrote because it was mostly like nonfiction or stuff based on my own personal experiences that I like kind of made into a story.
hmm.
That's what I like writing about. I don't really like writing fiction because I'm like, yeah, what is this?
See, I love fiction, except I don't always get when I should describe something and how much I should describe it, and when I should make it to where the characters are actually doing something. What I really need to do is just sit down and read a lot more books. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
I, because of how much I read into the same old stuff, and then podcasts and stuff like that. Personally, have not read a lot of books lately.
Hmm. Just so
When
you,
was the last book you read?
mm, does listening to him count?
Yeah, I would say so. I There was this one app that I used to use. It was called Audible. By the way, this isn't a brand sponsorship. I'm not sponsored by Audible.
Yeah, we're not sponsored. We just like Audible.
Yeah. Well, I used them at one point, stopped using them because I didn't have the funds to use them again. So,
Well, I do use Audible, Laura, and guess how I use it? I
how?
buy the Kindle on Amazon, and I get the audiobook a lot of the time at a heavily discounted rate without having to pay for the membership.
Hmm.
If you can't do it from the app. You have to go to the site, even on your phone. But if you go there and go get the Kindle edition of the book, you can actually get a lot of the time click add audiobook for $7.99 or $2.99 or something like that instead of paying 30-40 bucks for the audiobook.
That's not bad.
Yeah, but currently I've been listening to The Leviathan Wakes, the book that I just ordered at the local used bookstore to be brought in for a lower amount of money. I've got one, two, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. Another one that's like four books together, so that's gonna be like eight. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 20. No, I didn't want to tap on that. And another one that's a bunch of books together. 27, 28, 29. So my library on Audible, some of these books have all together, I have 71 titles in my library, Laura.
How long did it take you to hypothetically read that?
I don't know. Many of these hours are upwards of 16 of these books are upwards of 16 hours long.
Hmm.
Stephen King's The Stand is almost 40 hours of book. You know The Stand, that one where everyone dies of that super flu?
No.
Oh. And actually, quite a few of these are actually box set editions. So it's like 2 books in one. So that actually makes it more like close to 100 books in my library. And that doesn't count the books I have that I bought on iTunes before I discovered Audible.
When I was a kid, I was a super big book nerd, and I don't really know what happened that caused me to no longer be one.
You could still be one.
I mean, but it was like to the point where, like, I think what had happened was I had, when I was growing up in school, I had so much lack of a social life. Like, I think that's why I read so much. I mean, I still have a lack of a social life, but, like, when you're older, it's different because, like, if you're married or you're, like, with a significant other or shit like that, you don't, I'm not going to say you don't need a social life, but you don't really realize if you're not hanging out with people all the time. You know what I mean? Like, when you're young, you are hanging out with people all the time because you're young and you don't really have that many responsibilities. When you're older, like us, not saying that either of us are old, which we're not, but people understand that people got work to do, people get busy, and, you know, you're obviously not hanging out with friends all the time.
Oh, I'm not.
So I feel like that's why I don't read as much because of,
You
you know.
don't read because you hang out with friends.
Well, no, I think I put more of my efforts into my time and research into growing my platform. I think that's where my time goes. Of
Okay.
what
Then
free time I do have.
what do you do in your leisure time to relax?
I mean, what's really toxic is I think I do that for both. I'm very, very social media heavy for both. I think that might be a
That's
very
not
unhealthy
healthy.
mentality. Yes. Um, because I'm always searching for like opportunities for brand deals and photo ideas and stuff like that. But in general, for some reason, I also relax looking at Instagram, which is probably weird to say. So I think maybe my mind looks at the business side of it and dedicates time towards that. But also, I look at Instagram as kind of like a relaxing thing. Similar to Facebook, where I look at memes a lot and repost memes a lot. So I think that you can kind of have your mind trained for using social media in 2 different ways, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah, you need to read more books.
Yeah.
We can start you off with some Overlord, Starship Troopers. Well, that's not that other book I just grabbed isn't actually a fictional book. You've got Dune, The Forever War, a Halo book.
Are these fictional books?
Yeah,
They sound kind of very science fiction-y.
that's what I
And
read.
kind of like end of the world type books.
Well, Overlord's the book that an anime is based on.
Overlord. See, if I were to read books, I think At this moment, I think they'd be nonfiction. For some reason, if it were a book, I would think because I enjoy podcasts, I would enjoy a book about someone's life. At this moment, like I said, it's been a very long time since I've read anything besides what I need to for stuff.
Oh yeah, you see,
So,
I actually have the novelization of the Battlestar Galactica miniseries.
you're showing your nerd
Yes,
right now.
I am showing my node right now, and mentioning
Yes,
that I have Doctor Who: The City of Death.
he watches lots of anime. I haven't watched anime in a while.
Anime is
It's been
life.
Yes. So, whoever's listening, is anyone listening?
No,
If anyone ever listens, he is a nerd. I'm kind of a nerd, but not really in those respects, at least.
well, you gotta also remember all those books I just listed are books I have on paperback. I have a whole hell of a lot more on my Kindle app. You know, via
Hmm.
the whole buy it on Kindle, get the audiobook cheaper.
Actually, now that I think about it, I think my last books that I read was last year, which is not really that long ago. And that was because, if anyone else does this, guys, if you are ever I make the mistake of when a movie comes out, um, depending on timing, I will read the novel, before the movie comes out, or I'll watch the movie and then I'll read it
That's a bad idea. It ruins the movie. Why? Because the
because,
book's always better.
well, honestly, like this in this particular case, I liked the live action, like the movie adaptation. It was so from obviously there's lots of adaptations and stuff like that. Well, one of them was for I guess like this manga that someone made. And the dude like it was very simple animations that he made. I think it was like stick figures or whatever the hell. But it ended up getting picked up by a network that eventually had to air to be like a 2-season series on Netflix. And it's called End of the Effing World. Well, basically, there's a lot of criticisms towards his book now than there was before the series, because after the series was made, people are kind of realizing, compared to what the series is, the original context and original piece of work is actually like almost horseshit, weirdly enough, compared to what they have created it to be, because the characters are actually fleshed out. They have interesting like things
So
they
the
say.
writer, so the writer who adapted the work was a better writer than the original writer.
Well, I mean, I know that when the manga slash book was made, I'm sure the person didn't think it was ever going to be made into like a legitimate series.
Yeah, they were just having fun.
But I think once it did actually become big and became fleshed out for characters, I think people were just thinking, well, the original work is bad because there is no describing of characters that well. I mean, they're stick figures, so,
Oh yeah,
you know.
yeah. But if you look at things like the Ready Player One movie, did you watch that?
I've watched scenes of it. I haven't really watched like the whole movie, but it looks kind of interesting to me.
Okay. Well, those of you who know anime, okay, you guys know that Gundam was versus Mecha Godzilla in that movie, okay? Well, in the book, there is the Gundam. There's an Eva from Evangelion, even though in the book, Will Wheaton, who narrates it, calls it Evangelion. It's Evangelion. Get it right, guys. Yeah, I'm one of those people. And the transforming mechs from Macross, which was Robotech here in the States, and Voltron. in the final battle. Oh yeah, and Shoto dies in the book.
I wonder if there's any other examples of like books that were made, series to have adapted it, and then everyone just criticizing the original author because they're like, well, what you made was horse shit, and you should be glad that the new stuff was actually better. Like, I wonder if there's actually other people who have felt what this graphic novelist has felt.
No, I think this graphic novelist just got swept. Just didn't have that. Had a decent, but it wasn't that great of a work to begin with, and got swept up in
I think the
Netflix
problem
looking for
was
content.
like obviously it got picked up for a reason. I'm sure his like ideas were something that
Netflix
were
like
why it was picked up.
Netflix liked the idea, and they needed original content for the streaming wars, so they picked it up to have a series on their platform. That's probably what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, and it looks like we've got a viewer who says hi. Hello, viewer.
Hi. Wait, do we know this person?
OS Hunters Goo and Toya. I have no clue who
Thank
these
you
people are.
for listening to our rants. If you have listened before, we go off topic a lot. We started talking about complaining about work, and then it just kind of turned into whether or not we read books. So yeah,
Yeah,
but it looks like you do have a viewer. Thank you again, and thank you for commenting. Most of the time, whoever does view it never does.
oh yeah. Oh, and it looks like they're a couple of anime. They're an animator with 5 subscribers and 2 videos.
Just so you know, we were putting down that one animator because people were profusely saying that his work was horseshit compared to what Netflix made. We are not putting down animators. This particular animator just kind of got the bad end of the stick with that.
Oh yeah, we love animators, and it looks like you're from Brazil.
That is impressive.
We
That's
like
a
that.
very
We like seeing people from outside of our crappy country. Your country's probably crappy too. Everyone's country is crappy. I shit on everyone's country because I am an asshole. And you just left. And
Wait,
you
what?
might be back. I don't know.
Maybe.
The view count just went down and came back up.
Hmm.
We shit on everybody. But I'm being honest about the show, you know. But we do thank you for tuning in. But it does look like you tuned in towards the end of the show. Feel free to go back and watch the whole show. And
Yes.
you can come back next week, either 11 or midnight-ish. We usually do this, some random topic.
What have you titled this?
It just says episode 9.
Okay, gotcha.
I am going to dispense with the titles from now on.
Okay. Because I think there was only one time when the title did anything, and I think it was the fight one.
Yeah, we're just going. Although I added a U in the overtime part. Okay, that's fixed.
Okay.
Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm Tony Sixwing here with Six Room Productions and my co-host Laura Quinting. You can join us next week when we hopefully actually have something to talk about, because I literally did not think about this podcast till we did it today. Although that's normal.
Yes, we just kind of, this became us talking, so yeah.
Yep. Anyways, see ya.